I want to ask you about your outlook on the
Good to talk to
economy
you, David.
because recently as a couple of weeks ago, you said that it's going to be rough. We're going to come back in the second half. We may have unemployment as high as 15%, mid-teens, something like that. Have the recent developments changed your views on that any? Do you think it's any worse than it was before?
Yeah, I think it's basically, my view is basically the same as it was 2 weeks ago. I think we're going to have a substantial contraction in the second quarter. And we've said publicly annualized as much as 25 to 30%, but again, that's annualized, so multiply by 4. We think we'll start growing again in the third quarter, and we will continue to grow into the fourth quarter. I probably would say today that peak unemployment may be closer to the mid to high teens, so maybe a little higher than I'd said before. And we still believe that we'll end the year with an unemployment rate something like 8 or 9 or 10%, but in that range. And the challenge going into 2021 will be to work that unemployment rate down.
So there seems to be a range of views among Fed presidents as well as the board, which is why you have multiple people, so you have different views and they're expressed. But if you take Mr. Bullard on the one hand saying it's going to be a sharp V, and you have Mary Daly now saying, boy, this could really drag into next year in a recession, where do you put yourself on that spectrum?
Here's the worry. Here's the challenge. Going into this situation, we had sluggish manufacturing, sluggish business fixed investment. Obviously, a lot of it had to do with weak global trade. But the one thing we had going for us as an economy is we had a very strong U.S. consumer. We had a low unemployment rate. Household balance sheets were in reasonably good shape. And that was 70% of the economy. The challenge is, as we come out of this later this year, and if the unemployment rate really is 8 to 10%, you're going to have a weakened consumer who's going to, you would think, save more, be more careful, be a little bit more reluctant to spend, and that's going to be a headwind for the economy, and it may take a while, and I mean into 2021, for the consumer to get his or her footing back, and I think that'll be dependent on how quickly we can run down this unemployment rate to lower levels. So do I think it's going to be a V? I think the consumer situation makes me think that we'll have a recovery, and it'll be a solid recovery in the second half of the year from the levels we're at. We're still going to have a 4 to 5% contraction for the year, but then the question will be, what's the pace of growth, and what's the state of the U.S. consumer? Those are the questions, and that's the issue I'm most worried about.